So no material's absolutely perfect. And one of the things I kind of struggled with getting ready to do this was finding a piece of this finger joint door jamb material that was really straight. So when I cut it, I tried to make sure I cut the straightest piece. But now that I'm getting ready to set this in place, I'm also going to make sure that I have a pretty straight piece on the bottom. And what I'm actually looking for, if it's not straight, is if it's got a little bit of a hump up, that's okay. Because when they put the glass in there, it can kind of push it down. What would be really bad is if I put a piece in that bowed down and it forced this header down and made it to where the doors didn't want to open. That really can cause a problem. So I've looked at this and it's got a slight bow up on this piece. So hopefully, as long as I cut it right, I'm going to slide it in place. Got some sheetrock sticking in the way up here. Okay, that's going to line up. It's going to be tight. The opening didn't have a whole lot of room in it. Now, I want to space this up a little bit because I'm going to have a mullion that goes across here to trim that out. And one of the things that mullion will also do for me, because it's going to have some height to it, is it'll give some strength to these to where they won't move as much like that. And this is really tight. So I'll start out just by putting a single 1.5" 18 gauge brad in there. I'm going to move on over to the other side. I'm going to take my square. Okay. It's a little bit off, so I'm going to see if I can move it over just a little bit. Hopefully that one brad will have enough give. Let me move it just a tiny bit. Okay. So that's got it set at both the bottom corners. I want to double check, make sure that my shims are all about the same thickness, because they're not always the same thickness, but these are pretty good. So I'll just slide a couple shims in, pull it together. Now it's going to take a multi-tool and trim those to get them out of my way. This door and my transom really fit tight in the hole. And what I'm going to have to do is my very best to line this up all the way, because my piece of casing trim needs to line up the whole distance. I'm going to go ahead and switch to some 2-inch fasteners. As tight as this is in the hole, I probably wouldn't need to do that, but I'd just rather be shooting a fastener that I know is plenty long as taking a chance of maybe not reaching something. The goal is always to line the edge of the jamb up as much as possible with the face of the sheetrock, but I'm feeling it to make sure it's centered back and forth, because it wouldn't do me a very good service to line it up perfectly with this and have it way in or way out on the other side. So basically what I'm doing is just kind of averaging it. So that's lining up pretty good. If I'm going to be really, really picky, I'd kind of like to move this in maybe a 1/16 of an inch or a 32nd. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and drive a shim behind it and see if I can get that to move just a little bit to get an even better fit. Of course, we all know that the enemy of good is better, so I hope I'm not going to screw something up trying to get it perfect when it's already pretty good. Feeling that lines up. So now I've got both sides in this bottom set, but what I need to have is a really straight line across here. So I'm going to probably use this level across there to eyeball it. And then I'll just have to shim it probably twice across this middle. So it looks like it could stand to go up maybe just a tiny bit in the middle. So I've got it down just a little bit too much. When I shot this 18 gauge brad in there, I made sure I didn't shoot it into the shims, so I can still adjust the shims and take it up just a little bit. Okay, now I want to go down just a fuzz. All right, that's right where we want to be. Actually, that's right where I want it, so I'm just going to put a couple more. So I've got this transom set exactly where I want it, and you can already start to see how good this is going to look. My next step is to go ahead and put casing trim around it. And then once the casing trim's in place, I want to mill down a piece to somewhere between 1/4 and 3/8 for this mullion in between here. But right now I need to trim these shims back and then we'll start on the casing trim.